very common for me to keep in memory a general form without details, because I have too many things to keep in memory. Because I have used to pray for people who ask me, pray for me, for this, for that. Since I was very young, since I was a kid, my parents always asked me to pray for them, for aunt, for uncles, and I always went to the church or to many groups to make my little prayers. And what happens to me that when I was growing up, I began to use pray for everyone until I reached the 40 years or the 30, between 30 years and 40 years. In that decade, I used to pray for all the world every day and spent many hours praying for all people in the world. And I used to pray for people that came to my mind. Some visions, some images, some names. I wrote down in a paper all the things that I was thinking with the Bible, and open the Bible and choose the phrases that God said to me and the Sanctus Spiritus says to me, and offer that time for that people. And it made me to represent that people with objects to keep in memory, but not in a conscious way. And when I began to have this kind of habit, I realized that in the next days, in the newspapers, notice were that people that I have prayed for has been saved. Once a day I pray for militaries, and there were change. But in that time, I was fully convinced that God had listened to me and made arrangements to help people. But nowadays, after many years, I concluded that someone was spying, was looking at my prayings, and published that in the newspapers in order to I get the feeling that my prayers have been heard. But I didn't know that perhaps they were making that things to annoy me. The real thing is that I stopped of praying for all the world, and I focus to pray only for Paul McCartney. And I dedicate all my life in that time, since 40 years till 41, 42, 43, don't remember. I dedicate very seriously to him. And after a time, I realized that it was not a good thing, because the person, if he wrote me a letter telling me, "Thank you, Maria, very much for you are thinking of me. I'm very grateful that you think of me." has left in me a doubt that sometimes thinking a lot of a person may be a good thing or maybe a bad thing for a person. Then I stopped dedicating all my thoughts to all the world people after to one people, and I stopped of praying in that way because I was not sure that it was a good thing. Mostly if I am alone, if I am not in a religion group or in a community or with wise people guiding me to make my prayers. I began to focus more in the weird things, in the things that common people make, because some people were very disappointed with Paul McCartney's themes because Paul McCartney was an obsession for me. And I used to listen all his songs every day, Flaming Pie. And nowadays I realize that when I listen to Flaming Pie, it's evoked a lot of things, a whole um, arrangement of details that were mixed in a way that is very difficult to reconstruct because of the quantity. And it was like this visual system recognize some things, like in songs, in the lyrics of the songs. Sometimes we repeat the songs but don't know which are the exactly words. In the same sense, visual system recognize but don't know what it is. And I have an example that I will tell to you.